Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another FighterHeart Roundtable conversation. Today, we're sitting with Emma, Jeremy, and Ryan. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so if you guys could, we could get started right away. Give us your little background about your story. You don't have to go too deep into it. And then I have some specific questions we didn't ask last time that I'll ask you guys. We'll throw it out there, bounce some ideas off each other. So if Emma, if you want to start, go for it.
Hi, my name's Emma. Um, I competed in the 2024 Paralympics for the sport of paratriathlon. I also am on the women's triathlon team for CMU Triathlon, where I was also the first paratriathlete in NCAA. And then during my when I'm not training or being a student, I enjoy hiking, camping, and just exploring.
Oh, very cool. Some hobbies.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, did you get injured at birth, or was that like an accident or
No,
something?
I was congenital. So I have fibular hemimelia. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's when you either don't grow your fibula or it's shortened. And for me, I just didn't grow my fibula. So after I was adopted, I was then amputated. I did swimming, originally para swimming, just to supplement physical therapy. And then around 10 or so, I went to a Challenge Athletes Foundation camp. There I got introduced to paratriathlon. And then when I was 15, then I started competing internationally. And then my goal for the next couple of years was to qualify for pairs.
Very cool. Very cool. We'll get back onto that. Jeremy, can you give us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, so I was also a 2024 Paris Paralympic athlete. I competed in wheelchair basketball. I've been playing wheelchair basketball since I've been about 10 years old. So when I was injured, I was hit by a drunk driver riding my bicycle when I was 9. So been playing adaptive sports or wheelchair sports most of my life. I would say outside of adaptive sports or playing wheelchair basketball, I enjoy kind of checking out coffee shops, getting outside, going on walks by the Milwaukee River, going to Lake Michigan quite a bit. So just getting kind of being outside and disconnecting from a lot of the travel and things that require of us from being like adaptive athletes.
For sure. For sure. You said you go to coffee shops, so you're like a connoisseur kind of guy.
No, I would say I'm more like I'll drink like iced coffee. My girlfriend's more into like coffee shops than I am, but I'll always just go along because I get the pretty basic coffee like cold brew or something like that. But always
Yeah.
down for like a good aesthetic or something like that.
Cold brew with the cold foam. That's what I go
Yep, that's the go-to for sure.
with. Ryan, can you give us a little bit of your snapshot of your story?
I am also a Paralympian of the 2024 Paralympics for Paris. I'm a two-time silver medalist. I run track and field. I do the 100, 400, and long jump for 238. Um, Unlike the other two, I didn't learn about parasport until about I was 24 years old. I have congenital mild cerebral palsy. I was born 3 months early with fluid on the cerebellum of my brain, affecting how my neurological system would communicate to my legs, all of my extremities really, but mostly my legs is where it's seen most when I'm really stressed. So I was told I was never going to walk. If you see baby pictures, I'm all like sideways because I'm like stiff. What I like to do outside of pair track and field, I like to train kids like athletes for track and field. I like to do hiking, be outdoors in the woods. I also like doing woodworking and creating furniture and things like that. So I have a lot of fun working with my hands and working in the outdoors.
Hiking sounds like a trend here. It sounds like we have like a hike club going here. All right, cool. So let me ask you a few questions because if anyone wants to see the detailed interviews for anyone on the panel, they can go back, check out their individual story, get some specific details about their stories and everything about their lives. But All right, so I don't know if I asked you guys this. Did I ask you guys what does a fighter heart mean to you? Like what do you what's the first thing that comes to mind? Did I ask you guys that
Hmm.
last time I
Yeah.
asked you? Okay. Forget that one then. All right, tell me like your first each of your first real challenges that you ran into, like your immediate reaction. Was it fight, flight, freeze? Jeremy, we could start with you.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. So I would say it was definitely post-injury, right? When I was younger and it's not even really like adaptive sports related. It's more just like being around my friends as a kid, right? So when I was injured, I was at an age where like hanging out with your friends, like getting on your bikes and riding around and doing stuff like that outside was still really popular. So for me, like one of the biggest issues I had is how am I going to go get on a bicycle and go ride bikes with my friends, or how am I going to get to the pool with my friends while they're all running around and I'm a kid in a wheelchair now. So like figuring out how to do that type of stuff. So I found out about like hand cycles and things like that that were allowing me to still be active with my friends outside of just like hanging out in my house or doing something like that. So in that moment when my friends are all out doing these things, I could have just been like, oh, well, this is something I can't do anymore because my life is different than theirs and I'm in a wheelchair and I can't be this active. But I just felt like there was going to be options or was there going to be more to me than just like being house ridden and not being active and things like that. So figuring out ways to be active. My dad and I tried to like make our own hand cycles before even knew they were a thing, right? And like figuring out other ways other than just like giving up and saying no. I would say it was like my first interaction of like, I guess a fighter heart story of not giving up or facing adversity and deciding to like find a solution and not be a part of the problem. Kind of like a quirky one, but I guess that's like my thing.
Yeah, like it doesn't have to be like, the first challenge you've thought of, but like
Yeah.
just any challenge. And like, did you ever have a moment where like you wanted to just quit and then,
Yeah, I mean, for sure, like physical therapy, definitely. I'm 9-year-old kid in a rehab hospital. It's in the summer and it's nice outside, and I'm going through like 2 or 3 hours of PT and OT. Like
yeah,
those moments were not fun. They weren't enjoyable. It's not something a normal like 10-year-old kid would be doing. But
yeah,
I look back at those moments now and I'm very grateful because if I didn't endure that type of adversity, I wouldn't be as independent as I am now, or living on my own, driving my own vehicle, managing my life without a caregiver and like things like that. So, I mean, there's those moments as well.
very cool. Perfect. Perfect. Ryan, do you have an answer for us?
Um, I think the most challenging part for me was my adolescence, growing up being different. It was a lot of bullying until I really found who I was. And I was able to be more of an extrovert and adapted extrovert. Because not only was I a little bit neurologically disabled until and really clumsy, cognitively, I was a little bit slower as well. It would take a second for my brain to process things. My parents would even tell the teachers, "Hey, he's not ignoring you. He's just processing what you're saying, and then he'll do it." So communicating with other kids and just trying to keep up with conversation and things like that was difficult. So learning how to read body language and tone and facial expressions really helped me to basically perceive what the conversation might be like. So for me, it was more of the interactions with other kids my age and learning how to be social more than a physical aspect. Because physically, I'd always push myself past my limits. And it was because I had that ability to do so. I was grateful for the fact that I can walk, I can run, I can swim, I can do all of this when I wasn't supposed to. That allowed me to go above and beyond in those pursuits. Though a lot of people, because I don't look disabled, ask me, "Hey, well, I've had a photographer come up after a race and go, well, what? I can see all of their disabilities. What's wrong with you?" I'm like, well, first of all, nothing's wrong with me. I'm just a little bit different. But second of all, it's more of an invisible disability. I have pains throughout the day. I have moments where I go to sit down and both my hamstrings will just lock up real quick for no reason. So it's definitely learning my disability and learning how to really involve myself with others and understanding myself so that I can then express that to the people around me growing up. And that allowed me to build a community of friends and understanding that allowed me to really be myself and shine and really push myself to be the best because I had people that understood me.
Yeah, it's very hard to believe, because you're so articulate and conversational and friendly. So it's like you're saying this was all learned behavior, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So, congrats to you. You totally would never have noticed, when you were younger, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big difference, big difference.
Uh,
But I think it's a lot of the experience and the thing I want to do is motivational speaking to help create that community, not just for para athletes and para children, but to raise that awareness that communication is the fundamentals of being able to be human and to be empathetic and create a world where everybody can feel like they have some sort of place and some sort of goal for themselves to help things get along a little bit easier.
Beautiful mission. Beautiful. Emma, do you have an answer for us?
Yeah, mine would be, I think, trying to find myself and my people. So my father was in the military, and with that, we moved like every 2 to 3 years. So I've had a prosthetic since I was about 3, and I'm 19 now. So my whole entire life. But we would move so often that I would find a group of people, or it would take me a second to find my place within it, and then we would move again. And so it's like constantly moving, moving, moving. And as I've gotten older, it's easier to keep in touch with people as we have social media. We have phones now, but when I was younger, it was definitely harder to fit in, and I think I was also having a hard time like accepting myself because I grew up with a disability. Accepting yourself at any time or any part of your life is hard, but I was also growing up. I was figuring out what I like, who I was, who I am, while navigating with a disability and with a prosthetic. So I would say that.
Yeah, no, very understandable. Very good answer, of course. All right, so let's move on. Tell me about your support systems. So, who have your support systems been your whole life? Family, friends, the people that stick out to you most, like, oh, yeah, they really have my back. Sorry, Ryan this time.
Definitely family. Family's always pushed me. My parents have always pushed me to be the best. I was a middle child, so we're always super competitive. From a young age, my mom had us in soccer, baseball, snowboarding, skiing. So I got exposed to a lot of different atmospheres and a lot of different people. I was also a military child, so learning to be able to be adaptive to different types of cultures and being able to fit in as quickly as possible because there's been times where you are the first person on the cul-de-sac, and then you are also the last person to leave the cul-de-sac in the sense of people moving and coming and going. So being able to be very, what's the word? Create that community for yourself within your family. At least for me, my family was a big part of that. But also now being in El Paso for the last 14 years, I have a handful of friends that believe in me sometimes more than I believe in myself. They have my back more than anything in the world. I would die for them and I'd live for them. So
Their
it's
family, yeah.
fantastic.
Basically,
Yes,
family,
exactly.
yeah. I hear you. We got a few of those over here. Emma, how about you?
I would also agree on the family aspect, but also my friends and teammates. My teammates and I are very close. My college teammates and my teammates in paratriathlon. And when I first started doing paratriathlon, my the people who I raced against within my category were not only my friends but also my mentors. And so I look up to them. I'm close to them. We're close outside of sports. So yeah.
Yeah, so you're with them all the time, and it's
Yeah.
just natural. Jeremy, how about you? Support system.
I would second the family side of things, right? I think all of us wouldn't be here if our families didn't support us to an extreme level. For me, my like aside from my mom and dad, my sister was really big in supporting me. So we're like 16 months apart and we were both really active as kids. But wheelchair basketball is governed more like a club sport, so we travel all over the state or all over the country. There's not enough programs within a state to stay local and play. So she had to do a lot of sacrificing on her end of like the sports she could play and wanted to be involved in so I could pursue wheelchair basketball and do all of that stuff. So I always give her credit for sacrificing stuff, especially at a super young age, like knowing that I have to travel to play ball and sacrificing that at like 12 years old. That's pretty remarkable for her to be able to do that and like support me that way. But then as you develop, right, and you keep playing sports, you travel away to wherever you're going to get the most development. And then that's where like your teammates, your coaches, mentors like that are the ones to support you. So I would say my teammates are my huge support system now. We get together every other couple days to train and do all that good stuff. So I mean, it's great to have support because without it, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, for sure. The best teams are the ones that stay the closest together, I'd assume. Anyway. All right. How about a time that sticks out in your minds? First thing, like when I say like a eureka moment, like, wow, I could be really good at this, all in your selective sports. Emma.
I don't really think I had a moment where I was like, wow, I could be really good at this sport. I love challenges. And the one thing that I love about paratriathlon is that you're balancing three sports, swimming, biking, and running. And so more for me, it was more of where can I go from here? And I was able to figure out how good I was through the progress and through my results.
Got you, got you. So there wasn't really a time where you were like, I'm good at this. Like you just slowly kept building.
I think so, because I raced against able body my whole life. And so being para, we were definitely not equal. And so I've always looked at myself within the able body side.
Understood, understood. Jeremy, how about you? Do you have a moment?
Yeah, so it'd actually be my like first ever like senior national team tryout or selection camp. Granted, I got cut, but it was one of those moments where I went in with the expectations I wasn't gonna like be selected. So I had an extremely great tryout, and even talking to some of the senior athletes then that made the team, they all thought like one or two more instances go your way, you're probably making this team. So I'm relatively decent at shooting. So I always say I almost shot my way onto the team where I had a very good selection camp of just shooting the ball. So if I had a few more things developed back then, I may have made the first cut. I don't think I would have made the final selection, but I think I would have made maybe the first cut. That was kind of the moment where like, well, here I am as a 19-year-old guy playing against some of the best players in the world, which was like Steve Serio, Brian Bell, Matt Scott. And I'm somewhat taking it to them where they can't guard me when I'm shooting the ball. And that's a great feeling. And that was that moment of like, whoa, I'm in uncharted waters here, kind of playing really good basketball. If I really take this serious, it could probably lead me down more success.
Yeah, it's not a fluke here. It's
Yeah,
being a
exactly.
lucky. Yeah, gotcha.
Mhm.
Ryan, do you have something for us?
I wouldn't say there was a like an aha moment. Once like so I was in Survivor when I got voted out. I felt like there was this passion, this fire inside me, and I was like, I gotta beat somebody at something. So then the next person to get voted out was Noelle, and she's like, dude, you can be a Paralympian. I'm a Paralympian. You're disabled. I'm disabled. That's a simple way that I put it. So when she told me, dude, you can run track and field for Team USA, I was like, say less. And there was like even my nutritionist Sally. She was like, "Well, if you make it, it's like a Cinderella story." And in my head, I'm like, "I'm already on the podium. I'm making it. I don't know if you know who I am, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do what I need to get there." So it's more throughout life, the cultivated experience of many different successes, whether it was in track when I was a freshman, sophomore, or if it was wrestling and placing third in state as a senior. I always really pushed myself to be the best and was the example of, what it meant to be not only committed but determined and faithful towards what you're going towards and your goals. So it never
That's
was a
mhm.
specific moment, but it definitely was more of a cultivated experience throughout life to go, yeah, I can tackle this. Let's see how far I can get.
Yes, similar to Emma's answer for sure. All right, so you kind of segued into this one. How do you guys define strength at this point in your lives, and has that definition changed over the years? Ryan this time.
So strength is as I get older, I'm 28. Understanding oneself, understanding your limitations, understanding that each day has different limitations. Every day we wake up, every second, every decision we make makes us a different person. And understanding that allows you to be able to approach each situation for yourself as an athlete, as a significant other, a sister, a brother, a friend, the best you can, and being able to take that perspective and put it towards life and being open to being coachable or open to taking constructive criticism, whether it's in school, on the field, on the court, or on the track. It really means for me, strength is being able to take that perspective, take that understanding that every second, every decision you make changes who you are, and you have that ability to approach that situation as best as you can.
That's a unique answer. I haven't heard that one yet. How about you, Emma? How do you define strength?
Ooh, being able to understand, being able to want or become the best version of yourself. Um, yeah.
So is strength the level of how bad you want it, and some are stronger than others, and some want it more? Is that kind of what your definition is?
No, I wouldn't say. I'm still trying to think of my response.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
come back to you. Jeremy, you
Okay.
have an answer for us?
Yeah, I think strength is like facing adversity head on and understanding like it's gonna be challenging, but accepting the challenge, right? Like getting cut or like anything going bad with like training and some would say failing, right? Understanding that like this is not the end of it and you pick yourself up, you keep going. I think that is kind of what determines what strength is for me or defines it is how many times can you get kicked in the teeth and you get back up and you keep going because you know at the end of this tunnel there's going to be light and there's going to be success. Like I think that's what strength is, like just
Mhm.
knowing that there's going to be adversity and just facing it head on instead of trying to avoid it.
So, same question I had for Emma. How do we gauge who's stronger than someone else? Is it their will to get up again after falling, like getting up?
Yeah, I think like for me, everybody's it's like everybody's different. There's nobody that's the same. So because what I go through doesn't necessarily make me a stronger person than the one next to me, right? I think we're all going to define strength in our own ways and believe I think it's more of like an internal belief. Like I could believe like I'm stronger in facing adversity than other people, but that just helps me with my confidence and my willpower, right? That doesn't necessarily help people outside of that. That's what
Yeah,
I would think. I don't think like one is better than the other. I just think it's all based on the person.
yeah, subjective to everyone. Emma, you have anything? No pressure.
Yeah, no, I completely second-handedly agree with that.
Mhm.
Strength is pushing yourself and I would say reaching your goals. Um, yeah, pushing yourself to your goals and overcoming challenges and adversity is strength, regardless of the barriers.
Yeah,
Interesting.
like that's like what Ryan's saying, right? Like all these decisions you make are gonna take you down a different road or a different path. But some of the decisions you make, you know you're gonna face some type of obstacle or adversity, but you still make that decision because you know where it can lead you if you get over whatever is gonna require your strength. So I think it's all kind of applied like to
Mhm.
that.
I think
Yeah.
something that it takes, it's a hard way to put it. Sometimes the adversities we face do break us down to a point where our spirit is broken. Or
Mhm.
and that's not for everybody, but there are some things that change you. But I think learning to build and become stronger through that change allows you to really show what is strength, the adversity and that human willpower to go, yeah, that sucked, but I'm still alive. Let's keep going. So I
Not
think
giving
that's
up.
yeah, exactly. That strength to not give up through adversity, even though, You might give up for a second. We're not perfect. There's a split second. I can even say one time in my life I was wrestling, and when I would go in for my double leg, it was messing with the nerves in my neck. And I went to the doctor and, well, you can't wrestle anymore. It's going to cause paralyzation in one of your arms. And I am senior year, 3 weeks from state. I probably have like 5 matches left. And I am in the kitchen and I'm like, oh, like it felt like I was a bird that could fly. And now I can no longer fly. I'm one of the best in the state at this. And I've been told you can't do it anymore.
Mm.
And there was a moment that I was just down and I was done. Didn't feel right. I've never felt like that since or before. And then I went, it's 5 matches. I got this. Um, but it was that moment of almost despair in what I wanted to do that changed my perspective in a lot of different things. Yes, you can be told you can't do this. This is what you can do. This is what you can't do. But it really is up to you to make that decision. And it's really up to you to finish that goal, get to that point, get to your training sessions. You can go to practice, but that doesn't mean if you don't put your 100% out of that day, is it really worth going to practice? So it's about becoming that ideal version of you that you need to become to reach that goal, that a lot of people miss out on because a lot of people show up but they don't show out, and I think it's the cultivation of failed mistakes, showing up and being confident in what you're doing that leads you to that aha moment, to that I got this, to give you the confidence to compete in front of 70,000 people in stage or national television, which we all have done. So it's fantastic. International, actually, we're Paralympians. That's the world.
Yeah, that's
So
the whole
it
thing.
really takes big people, Emma. And how do you say your name? Say
Jeremy.
that's spelled
Yeah.
the way it's spelled. I'm like, wait, I don't want to say it wrong.
Yeah.
And
Jeromie. Most people call me
Jeremy,
Jeromie. Yeah.
that's
Wait,
I almost said it, and I was like, that doesn't
Yeah.
sound right.
That's
But
fine.
it really does take a certain sense of spirit and grit and determination to get to where we got. So if somebody hasn't told you recently, I'm proud of you guys. It's a fantastic job.
Jeremy, not sorry, Jeremy, Ryan, you mentioned there was a moment of despair, a moment where you wanted to give up, right? What do you mean by a moment? Is that like a day, an hour? Is it like a minute? How long does that last?
It was about, I'd say, 5 to 10 minutes where I was really thinking because I would get the shooting pain of hot and cold, and then my fingertips were numb for like over a month. And I was like, I don't want my arm to not work. And then my brain started ticking. And I was like, well, you can just adjust how you do things. And I did. And that adjustment actually led me later in that wrestling season to change my approach with somebody that had been studying my wrestling style. And had beat me previously, and I ended up beating him going to state and continuing my career in wrestling because of that instant. Because I was told, hey, you can't wrestle. And I was like, I can wrestle, just not the same way. I got to change what I'm doing. So it definitely, was a split moment. And for some people, it's more major. For me, I got lucky. It wasn't like I took a double leg and my arm stopped working. It was, hey, my arm's acting up. And they said, well, it's because of this. You should be wary. You should probably stop. We have some people that have Achilles that snap. We have hamstrings injuries, and you have things that take months and months to come back from that really show that determination of, hey, this is where I'm at down here. I was here. I'm going to get back to up here.
Yeah.
And those are the stories where I look for my thank you for sharing your story because that just makes me want to work that much harder on both training and understanding my body because I do not want to have those type of injuries.
Yeah. No limit to where you could go. Very cool. Very interesting answers for that one. This is kind of like a yes or no answer, I guess. Do you guys think resilience is something you're born with, or is it something you can develop? Jeremy.
I that's a tough. I feel like yes, you can be born with it, but also I think you can develop it. I think it kind of goes all based off of like your experiences, right? Like if if you fail at things but you keep trying because you have that passion for it, I think that over time will develop some type of resiliency. But there's also like people who are just born very charismatic that have all of those traits to them, right? So it could be like how what your upbringing is, how you were raised, things like that. But I definitely think like I mean, it's like a yes and no answer. I
A
feel like
little
it's a
bit of
tough one,
both.
right?
Little bit of both, right? You're
Yeah, for
saying
sure.
some people are born with it and some can build it, but it's
Yeah.
possible for anyone to
Mhm.
acquire resilience,
I
basically.
think so. Yeah. I think if you don't have it initially, maybe you'll go through some experiences where you'll have to develop it because some early in life don't experience any type of issues or obstacles that would make them be resilient, but then individuals that are born with their disabilities or their impairments, clearly that's going to be something they're going to have to navigate as soon as they're old enough to realize what it is, right? So I think those individuals definitely are going to develop resiliency at a much younger age, right? Because they're going to have that to navigate rather than me. I wasn't born with mine. I was injured when I was 9. So then that's where I kind of had to start my journey of understanding there's going to be some bad moments and I can't give up.
So anyone who goes through hard times and, makes it out on the other side is basically building their resilience up.
I think so, yeah.
Ryan, what do you think?
I think it is. There's a lot of factors, like Jeremy was saying. There's a study that they did. I think it was in Scotland. Mm, somewhere on that side of the world, they did a study where they followed, I think, over 200 individuals and what their names were, and based on how they were named and how they responded to what that name got them into. Let's say you have a man named Terry, which is a very common name over there. Terry, they are prideful. They're very strong in their name, but let's say one Terry was bullied and belittled, and he didn't stand up for his name. He was more likely to have a lower paying job. He was more likely to be more obedient versus the Terry, let's say Terry Crews. He took pride in his name. He is a big guy. He was very charismatic. He built that up and he probably has very much pride in his name. Such so I even named my son Atlas to give him a better chance to have a strong name and something to follow. So I think it has many different factors on what builds resilience, whether you are born with it, you have a name, you have people around you that make you feel supported, I think has a big factor of it as well. Because if you are left alone, especially at a young age, to deal with your problems on your own, it's going to be a lot harder to get over these without the outside perspective. But I think it's solving those problems as well is what's going to help you build that confidence to have resilience.
Yeah, so very similar to Jeremy, like so you can build it up. Emma, you agree with these guys?
Yeah, my responses are similar to what Jeremy and Ryan both had to say. It's more of environment and experiences that all play in factors, and because everyone's different and everyone has different backgrounds, resilience can be developed or given.
Gotcha. Beautiful, beautiful. So moving along here, this one's kind of philosophical. Could get deep here. What's your fears? Do you guys have fears, maybe specifically related to your sports, or first thing that comes to mind? Because you guys are so, it seems like you're so, charismatic and strong and, competitive. Do you have any fears? Emma, start with you.
Um, I would say sometimes the fear of failure, not necessarily failing and being able to like not do something, but the process of, or not the process of failure or like failing, but more so of how I perceive challenges.
Mm,
That makes sense. So like I always I love challenges and I like the process and the progress and being able to see where I come from. But sometimes I would say I always don't know how things turn out or how things are going to go. And so more so the fear of the unknown actually,
like
rather than
fear of the
failing.
future,
Scratch that.
kind of.
Yeah, scratch that. It would be sometimes I don't always have answers and I like knowing where I am, what my goals are, what I'm going to do to achieve them. And like everything, you don't always know the unknown. So I would say my fear was actually be the unknown.
Yeah, totally common. And, I'm with you on that one. That's fear for me too. How about you, Jeremy?
Yeah, like I would say fear of the unknown, especially in our cases, is definitely like a valid fear because right, we're all preparing for LA of 2028, right? Like that's the end goal for this squad is to go there. But there is a lot of time between now and LA. I would say I definitely have a fear of like what could happen in that time span, right? Not knowing that is definitely sometimes a bit scary. I think another part of like fear, I guess, for me would be like I'm afraid that we have these titles of being Paralympians that holds like a certain level of expectation or standard. And sometimes whenever you approach something or you do something, some type of action, not getting to that standard or that Paralympic level of whatever that action is, right? Like we've all had to dive headfirst and train and do things at a very high world class level to get to this point that we are. So other actions that I do or I'm a part of, that's like work, everyday life, being a better partner, being a better son and things like that. Not doing it at that high of a level is sometimes a bit fearful because you feel like you may be letting somebody down, right? Or you're disappointing them because you didn't reach their expectation, right? So I
Yeah.
would say those are probably the two things that I would fear the most. Granted, they're not like debilitating fears. They're not gonna have me hiding in my room or my apartment for days and weeks on end, but like definitely some things that you keep in the back of your mind, right, when you're doing stuff. Sometimes those are motivating factors. Sometimes they're demotivating factors, right? So it's kind of all how you like take it, I guess.
Yeah, like a fear of living up to expectations, right?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah, for sure.
How about you, Ryan? You scared of anything?
I'm scared of a lot of things. I'm kidding. No, definitely, I would have to agree with fear of not meeting expectation. Not necessarily like that's not something I think of all the time, but it is something that crosses your mind as an athlete.
Hmm.
I think it's more nerves than it is fear for us. It's more of whether or not we put in enough time on the track, on the court for practice. If we showed up, showed out, if we went to sleep on time, ate what we were supposed to eat, then all you can do is do your best. That's what I really try to do to help mitigate that fear. Because if not, you're left with that thought of, did I do everything that I needed to do? And that's really the fear, that thought process of getting stuck in that mindset of what if. And to not have that fear, I really do run until my body doesn't let me run when I go to practice. I train in the gym right after that, and I try my best to get as much sleep as I can. But I'm human, I'm not perfect. But I would say my fear is that perpetual mindset of did we do enough?
Yeah, and so the fear is not being able to get out of that mindset.
Yeah, so
Getting
don't get in it.
Yeah. So how do you guys deal with the fear? Ryan kind of touched on it. Do I assume a lot of you like, all right, I'm going to the gym, I'm going to train, I'm going to
Yeah.
work out. Like it's kind of like how you deal with stress too, I assume.
Yeah, I would definitely say preparation, right? Like confidence, having confidence, but your confidence comes from your level of preparation and knowing what you did is enough to be successful or to win or whatever it is that you're doing. So I think that's 100% how you erase that fear is however you prepare is what's going to make you either feel confident or it's going to make you feel like, man, I did not do enough and I left it short, right?
Mhm.
So
You
that's
want to
what I would say.
leave it all out
Mhm.
on the field, right?
Pretty much.
Emma, anything to add to that
Um,
on how you
I share a
deal with
lot about
fear?
my feelings. So I'm a very open person when it comes to talking about my emotions. And I found that um I journal a lot actually.
Hmm.
That's one of the things that I do to help overcome my fears or uncertainties is I write down my thoughts and I just like everything that I'm thinking I write down on paper And I go back to it and I say, I, yeah, I write everything. I look at it and I realize that what I'm worried about is nothing. It's a small little fraction that's gonna affect me for like 5 minutes and then I'm done.
Yeah, like you have to just let it out on the
Let
paper.
it out, yeah.
Yeah, once it's on the paper, it's like, all right, I'm good. Is that like, so this is leads into another question. Is that kind of like a daily routine for you, Emma? Like, do you journal every night, every morning, something like that?
Yeah, I usually journal. I journal on a regular basis, but I also journal my workouts and my thoughts on it. So my coach and I are very close, and we have weekly one-on-one meetings. And I'll tell her my thoughts on the workouts, how I felt, my process, and everything. One, it helps me process it, but two, it helps her understand me and know me as an athlete.
Is that common for you guys too, Jeremy and Ryan? Like you have one-on-ones with your coaches and like catch ups and stuff?
So for us, we could like reach out to our coach one-on-one, but we kind of just do our own things outside of that where we hold each other accountable as like athletes, as like teammates. So the coach helps out a bit, but really it's the athletes talking to one another that kind of keeps us accountable and where we reflect, right? Like if I'm watching game film or something and I want to know what my teammate was thinking in this instant, like I'll give him a
Mm,
call or we'll watch film together or something like that. So I would say like one-on-ones with our coach is we do that at the beginning and the end of like a competition just to know like where we started out, what was our, and then like how we ended and seeing like what our baseline was.
mm,
But outside of that, we it's a bit tougher for us, I guess, because we're not like nearly as like centrally located to our coach. We're kind of all spread out. So
yeah.
getting that like one-on-one time would be a bit more like virtually based, and sometimes that's not always like the best, in my opinion.
Not the best connection. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Ryan, oh
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
No,
You can
Emma,
go.
go. Go, Emma. Yeah.
Yeah, our coach is our coach, but she's also a mentor and our friend. I'm in
Mm.
college, and so my coach is my college coach. I see her every morning at 5:45 for like 2 hours at a time. Then I'll see her in the afternoon for another practice. And so our coach, or at least my coach, is a big part of my daily life.
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
who
for
I can
sure.
confide
Yeah.
my
That
issues.
sounds nice.
Yeah.
Are you in the same boat as Jeremy, Ryan?
Yeah, no, I'm in El Paso by myself. I don't even have any teammates near me. So when
Ah,
I get to the track, it's when I can't, because, as athletes, and I'm sure they know as well, 80% of Paralympians and Olympians are below the poverty line. So we all have to work a regular job or go to school or do something to supplement our income. And then we also train, 20 to 30 hours a week. I mean,
wow.
just yesterday, I trained like between leaving the house at 3, I got back at 9:30.
Wow.
So,
And then you got a
and
full-time job on top of that.
yeah, so then I went to work before that.
Yeah.
So, um I have a pretty good coach. I love my coach, two coaches. I got Coach Mac and Coach Goose. Coach Goose checks in periodically throughout the blocks, asking if there's anything specifically I need, ask me what I think about the training block, and also he sends me tons of funny reels on Instagram. Coach Mac, on the other hand, I call him Track Dad. He is he is not necessarily tough love, but you don't get a good job unless you earned a good job. And that's something I appreciate because I'm somebody that needs constructive criticism. I send him, every workout, probably nine videos, 12 videos of me sprinting. He critiques them. He tells me, hey, you did good here, A, B, and C. And learning that and navigating that as an athlete by myself here, and that communication and how much communication I need from my coach really has helped. This is my third year in track and field for para, so it definitely has helped me understand where I need to have my mindset to be able to get out there and do my best. Whether that was buying free lap timing systems so I can actually have a time for every single one of my runs, which has helped dramatically for my mental. But it definitely is about finding your coach and finding the way you need to communicate for you and your coach best as athletes. Because my coach treats other athletes differently than he treats me. So
I'm sure coaches all have a different, little bit different relationship with every all of their
yeah, a
athletes.
different approach depending on who you are, which is good.
That's part of being a coach, I guess, right? Like how you
Yeah,
going to deal with each of your athletes. All right. So,
exactly.
have you guys heard any common misconceptions that people have about Paralympic athletes? Are there any that come to mind that you kind of want to set the table straight, if I have that saying correct?
Set the table, set the record
Set
straight.
the record straight, not the table. You're not setting the
It's
table.
reference
I'm
the
hungry.
table.
It's 7:50. I didn't eat yet. Uh, Emma, are there any come that mind? Jeremy?
Well, I think like for well us, like one common misconception I always see is like people think being a Paralympic athlete is like an inspiration, which is great. Like I love that. You could think I inspire everybody. Awesome. The thing that is challenging for me in that aspect is when I'm training or I'm in the gym. I am as serious as like a D1 college athlete or an Olympic athlete training, right? I'm focused, I'm determined, I'm locked in, I'm doing all this stuff. And then I'll have just a bystander come by. You are doing the greatest thing. You are doing the Lord's work right now, being in a gym working out by yourself. And it's like, sir, I'm wearing my Team USA gear. I look like I'm supposed to be here doing this. You're not going to go say that to an able-bodied standing up athlete, right?
Yeah.
You're going to let them do their work and let them work out. That's like my biggest like misconception is we are not high performing athletes. We are inspirations, and that's where it gets challenging because again, we're here to do work, grab our hard hats and lunch boxes, and go to work, right? We're
Yeah.
not here to I mean, it's cool to take photos and be nice to everybody, but like we're here for a purpose. Like, let us do what we need to do.
Got you. Got you. That's interesting. They're like
Mhm.
standing there taking selfies. You were so inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how
Yeah.
often that happens.
Yeah, I could imagine. It's probably annoying. How about you, Ryan? Anything?
For me, it's when they go, "Oh, you're an Olympian," and I correct them, and they're, "No, it's you're an Olympian in my book." I'm like, that's not, you're not getting it. It's not making sense. It's not that I think I'm any less than any Olympian or I'm any better than any Olympian. It's I compete in the Paralympics. It's a different competition. They
Mhm.
happen, and we both do the same events. Just one is for those that have disability, and one is for those that are able-bodied. But both are competing against individuals that are at the top of their class, top of their field, in the whole world.
Yeah.
So it's getting across that I'm not saying I'm a Paralympian just to say it. I'm expressing gratitude and respect for every Paralympian that came before me and every Paralympian that comes after me, as well as every Olympian that has ever been, because we have our own respects in each and every field. So to have that distinction, not to say, "Oh, I'm a Paralympian," look at me like this. No, I'm a Paralympian. I kick ass. I'm top. I'm second in the world. And that doesn't mean I'm any less than any Olympian. We both compete, we both train, we both sweat, we both cry, we both bleed. We're both human, but we just compete in different sports. You wouldn't call a soccer player the best basketball player. They're both elite athletes. They're just competing in different
Sports. Yeah.
events. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the one I have to correct all the time.
Yeah. Different sports. These are different areas. Michael Jordan wasn't the best baseball player ever.
Yeah. No, he tried.
Yeah, he thought he was. Emma, do you have anything? You kind of agree with these guys?
Yeah, I agree with him. Yeah,
Yeah.
completely.
Yeah. So that's your number one kind of misconception that you've heard.
For sure. I would also add on how I'm here for a reason, not because people are sympathetic or that I don't deserve to be there.
Mm. You think some people think like you don't deserve to be there?
Yeah, there are some times where, yeah, I mean, it goes in with proving my worth and my capabilities. And I think sometimes people underestimate what I can do because I'm missing a leg.
Have you guys felt the same way, Jeremy and Ryan? People
Oh
say,
yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, that's just like everyday life.
mm,
Pushing around in a wheelchair, right? You're in the grocery store getting your own groceries, or like you're doing everything on your own, right? And they're like, wow, you just blow my mind you're able to do that. Or the fact that I drive on my own, people are just like, whoa, how does that happen? I would have never thought in a million years you could do that by yourself. And it's like, well, thank you for underestimating me, because then when I do the bare minimum, it just blows your mind and you think I'm like the greatest human being on earth. Awesome. Love that. But shame on you for thinking because I have a disability, I am less than you or I'm not as worthy. I think that's kind of unfortunate at times.
Yeah.
For me, with my disability, it's a bit different. Mine is kind of the opposite. I finish a race, and if it's a mixed para, they're like, "So what's wrong with you, guy?" And I'm like, "Well, you don't know this, but my body locks up all the time. There's been times I can't bathe my son because my arms and biceps keep cramping to the point where I can't hold him because my training was that hard." So I've had days where I lose vision. I have extreme pain on every time I have to do a speed endurance workout. My legs will lock up and I'll be like, okay, I guess that's it for the day. So mine is quite the opposite. It's the misunderstanding that because I look normal, I must be normal. And I think that is something that a lot of people with invisible disabilities experience. To give you a reference, my mom had a stroke, has 1/3 of her brain that works, 2/3 are gone. So she has to park in handicap parking because it's hard for her to get in and out and, do things. And you'll have older people that'll look at her and I'll walk up and go, "Excuse me." And my mom's real polite. "Yeah, what do you need? Why are you parked there?" And it's
Yeah.
like, it's hard because these no matter who you are, you're going through your own burden, your own trials and tribulations. But for somebody to question why you're allowed to do something and it's something you need it's unfortunate. But for me as an individual, it's a moment that I can inform and enlighten somebody rather than be upset about it.
That's funny. So people actually ask her, like, what's your disability? Like, why are you
Yeah,
doing
why do you get to park there? It's like because I have 2/3 of my brain and
it?
was never supposed to walk,
Yeah,
talk, or
but
wipe my own
she
butt.
shouldn't even have to explain this to
Ex-
someone, It's like you
exactly.
shouldn't even have
Mind your
to.
business.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how many kids do you have? What's your social security number? She should ask them.
What's your blood type?
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're coming up close to the end here. I got a few more for you though. Do you guys ever think about your legacy or like how you want to be remembered, like for your kids or future kids in some of the cases here? Do you ever think about that?
All the time.
Ryan, yeah, start with you.
Yeah.
Start with you.
So I not only for my kids, but for the next generation. In this generation with knowledge at your fingertips, it's really easy to get lost and not feel like you have a purpose. And I've learned that from talking at schools and talking to the youth. So to create an atmosphere of understanding for oneself, and when I say oneself, I mean everybody individually, that it is okay to not know what you're doing right now. Most of the time, I'm just taking one step forward, just really fast compared to everybody else. So that's the legacy I want to leave for my son is that, or for everybody to remember me is that it's okay to not know what you're doing right now. It's your first time on this earth. You can't be too hard on yourself, but that doesn't mean stay comfortable and stay in an easy situation and let yourself be down. That means take that time to understand what's happening, collect yourself, and make the best next step.
Yeah, so something went wrong. Your message is it's all right. It's okay. Figure it out now. Very cool. Emma, do you have something for us?
Um, I don't really think about my legacy so much. I think of more of my impact, like how can I make the sport better or what changes can I make? So like for right now in NCAA, there's one other para triathlete who's my teammate and a good friend of mine. And last year my goal for this year is to increase the representation of para in NCAA, but also make it so her NCAA experience is better than mine.
Mm. So impact the people around you even
Impact the people
more than
around me
yourself.
and how I can impact the sport in a
Mm.
positive way. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Jeremy, do you have a legacy?
Yeah, I would, when I'm eventually done with the sport, I would like to be kind of known just for like my character. how approachable I am and things like that. There are a lot of individuals that get to a super high level of sport, and with that, their ego also inflates, or they become very arrogant, where they don't have time to talk to people, or because you are not at my level, it's a very minimal conversation, right? I I love that I get to be an inspiration for kids or parents and family members who want to come up to me and talk to me about my experiences. I love that stuff. That gives me great honor in being able to do that and be that future mentor for some kid that's looking to just improve their quality of life, not even in basketball or sports, right? I will never not turn down a conversation from somebody. I anytime somebody wants to come and talk to me about basketball, life, how I do this, how I do that, there's I'm never too good to like help anybody out in that sense. So I always want to just kind of be remembered that like he was just a very approachable and enjoyable guy to talk to. Like he was always positive and always was willing to help out or volunteer for something, you know. I just think people get to a certain level and they feel like it gives them an excuse to kind of be a not such a good human being, I guess.
Yeah, a very humble answer there. Like you want to be remembered as a humble guy, not, you know, and just try to help people and make them better. Very cool. So what's next for you guys? Personally, professionally, what's coming up next? I know we have the 2028 Olympics, Paralympics.
Both
Um,
of them. We have Olympics and
yeah, both.
Paralympics.
Yeah.
LA.
So what's the day to day looking like, and what are you guys working towards? Anything professionally or personally you can talk about? Emma, anything?
Obviously, to qualify for LA.
Yeah.
But then also get a degree. I'm in college to get an education, and um,
Hmm.
aside from sports, I my career goal is to advocate for people with disabilities and all.
And how do you do that? Is it there a website or anything, or?
I want to work in a career, so working with nonprofits, but also advocacy. So making it so prosthetics and healthcare is more affordable. So working with like legislation and like nonprofits.
And is that like a message we can follow on your social media or anything like that? Any specific foundations that we should look into?
Um, it's all over. Yeah.
All right, cool. Jeremy, how about you?
So we just finished our World Championships qualifier, I would say about a month ago now. We were in Bogota, Colombia, where we took gold there, and now we're preparing for World Championships in Ottawa this next summer in like June. So, like sport wise, I'm training for that and leading up to all that stuff in like January for selection camps and all that. Then outside of that, professionally, like work wise, I'm just trying to help bring more awareness to adaptive sports in the state of Wisconsin. I'm adaptive sports program manager for Wisconsin Adaptive Sports Association. So just kind of developing more of our footprint in adaptive sports in the state of Wisconsin. So doing a lot of sports and just training for a lot of sports.
Sports, sports, sports. I
Pretty
like it.
much.
Ryan.
I have World Championships in New Delhi, India at the end of this month, so I've been training for that. I leave the 24th. I get back to third. I'm trying to get that first place. I'm racing against Jaden again and again and again. I've been getting closer. Personally, I am on a journey of self-development. A lot of the times when previously I was in college, I was in a car accident and I made it so I couldn't sit through lectures because I was in a lot of pain. So I want to go back, but I really want to take the time to find out what I really want to do. A lot of times I've gone to school, I've done things because I'm trying to make like my parents proud or the people around me influence my thought process on that. So I really want to sit down with myself and find out what I want to do and what impact will make me feel both that I am doing for others, but I'm also enjoying it for myself.
Incredible. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Before we go, Al, I know you're in here. Do you have any questions? I know you usually do. Or Ed, if you have a question, of course. If you guys have anything you want to ask these guys. Oh, Al's unmuted now.
Yes. Hi.
So this is Al. He's been on our panel a few times.
Sweet.
Hi. Hi, guys.
How's it going?
One of the questions I have is what, what, what keeps you guys are all motiv what keeps you guys so motivated, even though you guys deal with certain issues?
Anyone who wants
For
to jump in, go for it.
For me, just to see how far I've already come in such a short time, and knowing that the further I go, the better I have a chance of impacting just one more person. And also I am very competitive, so I want to be the best. It is some of it's very personal and very selfish of being able to go, hey, I did it, you know. And that's okay. I feel like that as athletes, we should be able to have that pride in ourselves, not to be cocky or egotistical, but to go, hey, I said I was going to do it, and I pushed myself. It might have taken longer than I wanted, but here I am. I just couldn't see myself giving up after coming so far. The regret would be hurt a lot more than the training I go through.
Okay.
Anyone else
Yeah,
stay motivated, Jeremy?
I'd say like for me, this is fun, right? Like this part of my life where I get to work in adaptive sports, help develop it here in Wisconsin, and then train to be on another national team and hopefully Paralympic national team. It's very fun. So I get to do this. I don't have to do this, right? That's kind of my motivation is I get to go out here and represent my country and represent the state of Wisconsin when it comes to wheelchair basketball. I get to do all of those great things. So until it becomes like a feeling of I have to do this, I think I will try to stay at this level as long as possible.
And if it ever becomes I have to, maybe reevaluate, right? Because
Exactly
yeah.
right.
Emma, how do you stay motivated?
Wanting to be the best version of myself as possible. And then also having the support of my friends, family, and teammates.
Yeah, it keeps you going.
Yep.
That's good.
Thanks for the question, Al.
No problem.
Ed, anything before we get out of here?
Well, I just want to thank you all for being part of the discussion, and it was very inspiring. It was great to hear individual stories and the shared information, the feelings you shared with us. It was really great. So I'm a little tired. It's like 2 at night in Europe, so
Wow.
Germany.
in Germany, yeah. But I think I joined almost every single session, and it's really enjoyable, and I really take a lot from it, and it's a motivation for me to keep pushing this project forward. Thank you very much to all of you, and thanks for also mentioning the Para Athletics Championships now in New Delhi. So I'm gonna follow that at the end of the month.
I complete the
So
27th,
and
27th, 28th, 30th, and 31st, I think.
yeah, so yeah, good luck for you if you participate, right? And to Emma and Jeremy on all your future events you participate in.
Thank
And maybe you
you
can share that on social media, and we try to follow that too.
for sure.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks for getting up for us. Everyone else, thank you again for watching another FighterHeart Roundtable podcast. We will see you again next week.